Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am Ray, and today we're looking at Season 1 of Jessica Jones. This takes place in New York City, just about a year after her ordeal being a superhero. She's been a hero for, I guess, a short period of time, and she has quickly retired, and she's about a year later into retirement. We find out that she's suffering from PTSD from a supervillain named Kilgrave, who has the power of suggestion. Whatever he says, or whatever he wants to imply, he makes you do, and you are powerless to do anything about it. As a result of his fascination with Jessica Jones, he manipulated her for a number of months or weeks and made her do things that we're not aware of, but we are suggested that they are horrible acts, things that she has never come to reconcile with, and we find her again a year later now, removed from the situation, and now becoming a private investigator. And we're in a situation where the day she finds out that he's back in her life, and all comes to the idea of having one bad day, because up until this point, I think everything for Jessica Jones was fine. And if you look at the people who she's interacting with or she works with, whether it's at the law firm or with her cousin, or sorry, with her adopted sister Trish, when they respond to her, it comes from a perspective. If you're looking at it from what I was looking at it from the perspective that they're talking to her politely and kindly, as if they're not expecting a harsh response. Now, when think of Jessica Jones, you think of a PI who's kind of hard edged and flippant, and that's very true. But today, when the show starts, she's come to face with the fact that Kilgrave, the guy who manipulated her a year ago, is back in her life, and the one who caused her PTSD, and it becomes fight or flight. And as a result, her initial instinct was to run away, which makes absolute sense. And in doing so, she's aggressively asking for money. She's trying to get away, get out of the city. But then she realizes, no, in order to save her client, which, by the way, is the motivation for this entire season. Her name is Hope Schlockman. She is a client who is a victim of Kilgrave. And because no one else knows of Kilgrave's existence, only Jessica Hope is now being accused of a murder that she committed, but it wasn't by her hand, so to speak. So in order to save Hope, and maybe save herself, she has to go back to the fold, go back and face the one thing she couldn't beat or defeat, and that's Kilgrave. And that's where, when you look at the logo, you see Jessica Jones, it looks like a broken glass. It's because she used to be a solid rock, but she's chipping away at the edges because her life is crumbling, and the only way she can control it is to be such a hard-edged person. And that's what I think is, well, symbolically interesting, because on the surface, she's a superhero. What can hurt her? But she's slowly coming undone. And the more she's going into this, the more hyper-realistic this entire situation is. And I think this is an amazing story because it deals with issues that are so harsh. You have abuse, there is gaslighting, but there's suicide, there is a sense of rape, there is a sense of drug abuse, there is alcoholism, there is a bunch of things that they do here. And not only do they address it, but unlike the show of the week where they dismiss the next week, these themes are recurring themes. They take responsibility and attention to all of this, whether it's mental illness or whether it's an abuse or addiction. This show addresses these things and lives with these things as the show carries forward, and it handles it in a very delicate but responsible way, in a more true-to-life way than normally you would see on normal shows or on primetime television, which is why the show got a Peabody Award for excellence. Shows who got a Peabody Award are not for the most famous or most highest ratings. These are shows that connect with the audience, that push the needle, that resonate with an audience or with a reader, and make a difference. And this is a show I wholeheartedly believe that this is the kind of craft of writing that is significant. It does address certain themes, and it does it with an idealistic, not with an idealistic, but with a realistic approach, but that has a way to really find its audience, those who want a superhero film, but want some real authenticity to what you're watching, some real meat, some real stakes to what you're seeing, not just the simple superhero fatigue you hear all the time. This is a show where it's not so much on the high end of special effects and CGI. It's the opposite. It's more, it caters to the mind. and caters to the soul. And I like that because it'll resonate with you even after you watch the show. It's great for water cooler talk. It differs from Daredevil and its other contemporaries. So this show in that sense is remarkable, and you have an all-star cast. The side characters like Malcolm and Trish, these are characters who exist from season 1, and they go for tremendous arcs to the season 3. Malcolm, who starts off as a drug addict and to where he ends up in season 2 as working with Jessica, to season 3 to where he ends off at. It is remarkable how they transform. Trish, too. There are flashbacks where we see Trish and Jessica together, and there are seeds and little hints of what Trish will become at the 3rd season. Just by watching a couple of flashbacks, which when you watch it on the first go round, it means nothing. It has no significant punch to it. But after watching the season or the series, you realize, oh my gosh, there's so much layering in what you're seeing. They say the word double entendre, but this is like a layering of content within what you're watching. But though, if you're watching this for the first time, which most of the people will be doing, or watching only once, you're going to be satisfied with the content. And then those who recall back or decide to go back and rewatch it again after watching maybe other Marvel Netflix shows or seasons 2 and 3 will appreciate so much more of the content of what you're seeing. So with that, I want to thank my partner Evie, and thank you for the emails you sent to us. We're reading them on our audio portion of the podcast. They're great, and we'll be going into more depth. And if you want to listen to Evie's comments too, it will be on the audio portion. But for now, I want to say thank you, and we'll be back next week with a brand new show. And take care. Bye bye.